District Attorney Sandra Doorley, employees of Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. Paul C. Metzler, John P. Menzo Jr., James P. Melly Jr., Penfield Town Court. John P. Menzo Jr., retired. My name is Chris Chichester. I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times a prosecutor has not talked in court. There is not one sentence. There is not one word. There is not one sound. Deputy District Attorney Perry Duckles. Why do you think that's the case? It's because a prosecutor can't stand in open court and make an argument that I have committed a crime. So on this April 23rd, 2023, this is attached in PDF. I'm going to read the first 3, and then I have 2 more for you psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office who do not know what constitutes a crime, and you psychopaths at the District Attorney's Office who do not know what constitutes a crime. So this says here on this April 23rd, the documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester with John P. Menzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Is this Julie Hahn or is this not Julie Hahn? You know the answer, Perry Duckles of the District Attorney's Office. You know the answer, Mark Monahan of the District Attorney's Office. You know the answer, Michelle Crowley of the District Attorney's Office. And your corrupt, addled, sick boss, along with you, who doesn't know if she's a Democrat or Republican, Sandra Doorley, has been refusing for 18 months to tell me the names of these psychopaths that are prosecuting me in total silence. Who is it in Penfield Town Court? Tell me who it is. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester with Paul C. Metzler in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? This is the psychopath I perhaps have the most interest in. This is the boy in his 3-piece suit, because this boy and Paul C. Metzler delivered me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. What am I doing in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, you Benito Mussolini skinhead, Todd Baxter? I'm told when I was at the jail, it's for my personal safety. Because I would be attacked, not by inmates at Monroe County Jail, which has happened to me, by the Sheriff's Office employees, because I'm so well known. That's what I was told by a Livingston County Jail employee. For your safety was her exact words to me. 2 people decided I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, where I don't live. I walk into the Penfield Public Library. Richard J. Seaman approaches me. Seaman runs in the library, extends his arm like this. Seaman slams me in the head. So it's the force of Richard J. Seaman and his $75,000 salary slamming me in the head with his arm. I fell backwards, and then my head slammed against the ceramic tile in the Penfield Public Library. Then the other psychopath, which seems, picked me up and frog marched me out of the library, and who's waiting for me in the little star chamber of Penfield Town Court is bald-headed, wig-wearing, $28,000 widow Paul C. Metzler, where there is not a prosecutor from the District Attorney's Office present. Paul C. Metzler, how do you defend this to the Office of Court Administration and other bodies that have regulatory power and control over you, where you're convening this nauseating little star chamber by yourself without notifying the District Attorney's Office for the express purpose to violently attack me and then deliver me to a jail in a county I don't live in? How is that possibly explained, you bald-headed, wig-wearing psychopath widow? It can't be explained, because that's corruption. For any more information, the documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? When I appeared before this $208,000 hack and fossil, who's over there at 99 Exchange Boulevard in Rochester, New York, in a hackocracy, when there were 18 hacks on New York State Supreme Court, he said to me, I'm finished and done. I've said this now repeatedly. That's not true. Because all it takes is one of you psychopath assistant district attorneys to concoct an arrest warrant. I'll be followed, stalked, and tracked in Monroe County. You'll arrest me where I am. Then you'll bring me to the corrupt judge, and I'll be declared guilty and I'll languish in jail, where I'm not told how long I'm going to be in jail. Who decided to force me into Alex Renzi? It has an answer. That's not a rhetorical question. It's the prosecutor assigned to this $208,000 fossil. So, Those are the foils. Perry Douglas, Deputy District Attorney of Monroe County. Who is it? Who are the freaks? That's the Freedom of Information Law. It's attached in PDF. I understand if you blow me off and don't watch me. I'm going to update that with the current date in the next 48 to 72 hours. I'm going to send it to either UPS where it's tracked, registered mail return receipt where you sign for it, or Federal Express where it's tracked. What I just read to you will arrive in your office where you sign for it or it's tracked or both. The moral and ethical thing for any district attorney's office is just to disclose the names to me. Christopher.chichester@mail.com. That's where you can reach me. You can also reach me, you psychopaths, with the address that's on here. The address is on the foil. That's attached in PDF with this date, April 23rd, 2023. See Chichester J04 Gmail, and also Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Here's how you reach me again via email. See Chichester J04 Gmail, that's on the foil. Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Here's how you reach me too. 620 Park Avenue, PMB 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Or you can call me on the phone. I'll give you my phone number. And you can leave a message, one of you psychopaths, because this has happened to me. And you can tell me that I'm supposed to be in court somewhere where you don't have to talk at your repulsive, sick, disgusting 1984 district attorney's office for me to go to jail. 813-648-4441. That's on the foil. So I'm going to read this foil here because I got two more for you psychopaths at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. And I've been demanding that for 18 months too. So, the freaks, your entire existence at the district attorney's office is sick and corrupt, and that's why you're freaks. So is it $118,000 Nancy Gilligan? Did you $118,000 Nancy Gilligan stand in Pamphlettown Court when I appeared before John P. Lomenzo Jr. when I haven't committed a crime and I'm innocent and not talk? Or is that Julie Hahn? So when I had to appear before this bald-headed widow, Paul C. Messer, in Pamphlettown Court, when there is no jury at 12, it's not a table for a prosecutor to sit at. There's not a table for a defense attorney. There's not a witness box for testimony. There's the 5'2" three-piece suit boy psychopath. So is the boy psychopath who's stood there and delivered me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, where I don't live. Is that Charles Dominic and his $107,517 salary? Did you, Charles Dominic, go in there and put your foot down and say, this is your final offer, $107,517? I'm trying not to laugh. So, Alex Renzi said I was finished and done. I had two females standing behind me. I do not know if they're court employees or if these two females are these signed prosecutors. I have multiple prosecutors. Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan. Do I have multiple prosecutors or not? Who's the prosecutor that forced me into Alex Renzi? Do you understand that it is corruption? It is the very definition of corruption for refusing to disclose these names to me. Taxpayer-supported public employees that are assistant district attorneys assigned to my court appearances who are delivering me to jail in total silence. And I'm demanding the names from you over and over and over for 18 months and you're refusing. So, the two females standing behind me, when I appeared before this $208,000 hacking fossil, Alex Renzi, was it the greatest name in the district attorney's office, Alyssa True Love, at the $107,517? You go in there and put your foot down and you say 517, that's my final offer, Alyssa True Love. So who is it? Is it Gregory Clark, $114,985? I don't know. Is Alyssa True Love and Gregory Clark, are they my prosecutors? They're not my prosecutors. If they're not my prosecutors, who are my prosecutors? Ridiculous. These two Freedom of Information Law documents here that I'm going to read for you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, and your employees at the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office. I try not to be hysterical and engage in the use of language that's ridiculous. I always strive to be for accuracy. So, having made that statement, I do believe that this could possibly remove you from office because this is you gouging taxpayers in overtime. When I was a public employee in Albany a long time ago, from Senate Majority Ralph Marino and Governor George Pataki on the second, third floor of the Capitol, there was no overtime for political appointee, political people. If you work for a state legislature, one of the 212 members of the state legislature, you're political. Everybody's political. In the best sense of the word, because you have beliefs. And political beliefs divide people. So, there was no overtime or time and a half. All you had was compensatory time. However, when I read the Times-Union, daily newspaper, I would occasionally read about state employees abusing overtime. And that's how I decided on this. And then I would read about this occasionally in the Washington Post or someone else where I worked on Capitol Hill for Congressman Mark Smith, Texas, and Senator Libby Snow of Maine. So I have read and heard about how overtime can be abused when I was a public employee in Albany, Washington, D.C. So Freedom of Information Law, dated this April 23rd, 2023, that is attached in PDF. The total cost of overtime, time and a half, while paid beyond a base salary is calculated at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. The total cost of overtime, time and a half, while paid beyond a base salary is calculated at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office of District Attorney Sandra Doorley. So here's the District Attorney's Office payroll again. You could have an employee like Martha Colburn, paid $91,809. Martha Colburn could exist at $150,000 with overtime. Is that true or is that not true, Perry Dunkles? Employees of the District Attorney's Office, is that true or not true for Martha Colburn? So on the second page here, the District Attorney's Office payroll, I hope when I read these salaries, I'm reading it to you as an employee of the District Attorney's Office, and you know this employee makes more money than you, and you're in a rage about that. Because I'm trying to destroy your morale at the District Attorney's Office. Because I look at you as a bunch of criminals and thugs and gangsters and extremists. And when I say I'm trying to destroy your morale at the District Attorney's Office, you don't know that that statement is a legal statement. You're thinking, how do we arrest him for what he just said? Because you're psychopaths, that's why. So, here we have Kimberly Vasey. Are you my prosecutor in front of John Clemenza, Kimberly? So Kimberly Vasey is paid $57,892. Again, bizarre. It's not rounded off. Is Kimberly Vasey paid $75,000, $85,000, $90,000 with overtime? What's the answer, Perry Ducks? You know the answer. Just possibly to remove you from office if you're abusing overtime. And I believe that the answer is yes, you are abusing overtime. Because, Todd Baby, here is the Monroe County Sheriff's Office salaries. Michael Radler, you're not on here. You know why? Because you paid $0. You paid private campaign money, Michael Radler, for going to work at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office or not. So here we have, I'll just go with the first name, Ronald W. Harling, $95,921 and 37 cents. Employees of the Sheriff's Office, Michael Radler, Kathy Mill, William Tadeo, Scott O'Byrne. Is Ronald W. Harling, $95,921 37 cents. Is he paid $130,000 with overtime or is he not? So we have another employee. I'm going to go with a lower number, probably an entry-level employee here at the Sheriff's Office. I'm looking for a good number. Frank A. DeCino, $51,189 and 84 cents. Is Frank A. DeCino paid $51,189 and 84? I would guess that if he's a uniformed Sheriff's Office employee, he's relatively new, perhaps even a rookie. Is this employee here, whose name I just read, Frank A. DeCino, $51,000. Is he paid $75,000 with overtime or not, Todd Baxter? Is he paid overtime or not? Michael Radler, Kathy Mill, Scott O'Billy, William Tadeo. Are you William Tadeo? I mean, this is your $101,000 salary. Do you exist at about $150,000, William Tadeo? What's the answer? I believe the Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli asked you those same questions. You would refuse to answer. And that's corruption every single time. And it's a disgrace. I'm just looking at these names here. Page after page, you got your six-figure cops. You got your six-figure salaries. I'd like to know how many how many people in Monroe County know what I know about your Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Jonestown. Because I know more about your Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Jonestown, than the employees that are the Kool-Aid drinkers in the Jonestown. Shannon M. Meyer, 83-291-42 cents. I hate this hack and extremist with every single fiber of my being. A warrant for my arrest for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. This is from this $83,000 extremist Shannon M. Meyer. You have documentation in your office about her over and over and over. She calls me on the phone, and then she writes this ridiculous arrest warrant for me and walked through a parking lot. On the above dated approximately 1440 HRS, I responded to the above location report of a male trespasser. A joke, a disgrace, a lie right there. I've walked this parking lot 4,000 times, just like my excellent friend Adam, who lives next to me, the elderly woman across the street from me, Penfield High School students. There's a parade of individuals that begin to walk through this parking lot when the sun goes up at 7 a.m. all the way until midnight. After I was not allowed to walk through this parking lot anymore, I would sit on my couch at night, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and see people walk through this parking lot in the dark. Isn't that right, Elliot Roth? You work at 2025 Penfield Road. What's on your building, Elliot Roth? I said this over and over. I'm going to show a picture. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Is that private technology? With Psychopaths Incorporated, the sheriff's office buying it, fix it for me. Male trespassing. Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shah. How was he a V for victim? I've said this over and over. This is Neeraj Shah, who lives with his 7-year-old mother. Because when I was coming back from Goldstream and Fairport, this psychopath mother's boy, Neeraj Shah, who's a Penfield Public Library trustee, too. I'm going to contact the library about him. He starts to scream at me. I have this confrontation with Shah. The way he's screaming at me, I have known guys, since I'm from Long Island, my mother and father in Brooklyn, that would have attacked him immediately. I'm looking at him scream at me. I walk up and he's inside his car. I try to talk to him, and we have this confrontation where he is screaming at me with such ferocity. I'm thinking, I've never seen anybody behave like this guy before. And when I walk away from him, he's still screaming at me, and I give him the official finger of Brooklyn, New York, which I'm giving to you employees, the sheriff's office and district attorney's office now. Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shah, who stated that HHS was on his property again, even though he's been informed he's not allowed to be there. That's not true. It's a lie. Nobody informed me I'm not allowed to be there. Then you're going to have to call the 20, 30, 40 people a day to inform him of the same thing. Where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection of laws? So, I write he informed. Do you know how? By screaming. And I'll describe that spectacle. I moved to 26 Sandra Drive in 2012. My girlfriend Laura, for 6 years, I made this ordinary walk every day. I will do the math for the big fascist brain on Todd. 6 times 365, 2910. This is going to Wegmans. 6 times 365, 2190. Pardon me. That's returning from Wegmans. Total 4,380 times. That's just going back and forth from Wegmans. Ridiculous. My New York's 4,000-time criminal had possibly employed this freak Shannon Meyer. I'll show you where I used to live. Pardon me as I reach over here. I want to get a couple of my favorite documents. Walk through the parking lot, right? I'm going to hold this up so you can see. Hopefully you can see my neighbors right there. There's 2 of my neighbors right there. They're not arrested. There's no arrest warrant. This freak Shannon Meyer's not calling my neighbors because I talk to my neighbors. I talk to neighbor after neighbor about this freak Shannon Meyer and about this parking lot. And about this mother and son freaks that you've unleashed upon me. Neeraj Shah, Layla Kumar Shah. This is where I used to live. See my residence there. Where you were, Leela Roque, with a document that's not a search warrant. So I'm going to show you a better photo, a little bit more clear of the same 2 people. Because I had my phone in my hand when I finished my bike ride. Here they are right up here. Walk through the parking lot. There they are right there. They're not arrested. This is where I used to live right here. What are you doing in my residence, Leela Roque? You and Paul C. Metzer decided to get into my residence right here. You $97,000, 40-plus pounds overweight fat girl, and where's my Chromebook? What's the probable cause, 1, to get into my residence? What is it? Because I've seen that search warrant. It's ludicrous. 2 people decide to get into a search warrant. Perry Douglas, the district attorney's office. Is that constitutional? Mark Monahan, the district attorney's office. Is that constitutional? I will send you that fake phony document. That's not a search warrant. And I'm confident the employees at the Department of Justice and United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, employees of the Office of Court Administration, will easily conclude that this is the fiction and the fantasy inside the head of this $28,000 bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler. 2 people decide to get into a residence? $28,000 Paul C. Metzler, $97,000 Leela Roque. Where's my Chromebook? You tore the place apart. You opened up the cabinets on the first floor where I had my pots and pans. You took all papers I had in a folder. I had pictures of this. I've shown this previously a while ago, but I'm going to send them to your office. You took all my papers on the floor. You threw them all on my floor. You removed my books from my bookcase. You turned my bed upside down. You pulled the couch away from the wall. You took my clothes out of the closet in the 2 upstairs bedrooms. You took my dress screens from the 101st. You put them on the floor. You sick degenerate. Leela Roque, this is a question. This is corruption right here that you refuse to answer. How many of you psychopaths were in my residence where I used to live right here, 26 Sanders Drive? I think there could have been at least 10 in there. Who did you call also? It's also what you refuse to answer. I've asked you this in writing, I believe. I've certainly said it on YouTube, on this Google product. Leela Roque, you called Antonino Spano and said what? And what you're thinking is you're not accountable to anyone. And I've used that word over and over. You think that you could call this old man who's about 80 years old. He's going to be unfair. You could scare the hell out of this 80-year-old old man, Anthony Nospano of Fairport, and he's going to let you in. What's the probable cause to be in my residence? $28,000 bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzler, and $97,000 40-plus pounds overweight fat girl Lee LaRoque. And Lee LaRoque, where's my Chromebook? Lee LaRoque, mail my Chromebook to me, and you will refuse. I'm going to tell you what the address is again, that you can mail my Chromebook to me. Lee LaRoque, why are you overweight? Because Todd Baxter has no physical training program. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604 813 My phone call. The reason why I give my phone number, 813-648-4441. Anybody can call me and ask me what I'm talking about. Perry Douglas, call me. Mark Monahan, call me. One of you sheriff office employees, if you can attain civility and not be a psychopath, you could call me too. I'll answer any of your questions. And what you're thinking at Jonestown is, how do we arrest him? It's exactly what you're thinking. And I won't be surprised if the warrant's already been written. And I'm already having a reservation for jail. I already have a reservation for jail. Even though I've been told by Alex Renzi I'm finished and done. I'll have this as a record that I'm not finished and done. If I was asked when I was employed in Albany a long time ago in the 1990s, can you go to jail because of one judge? I believe I'd have to think about it, and I would say no, because that's insane. The destruction of my life is one judge delivering me to jail 6 times and the prosecutor's not talked in court, and you're refusing every single time, including today, to disclose the names of these prosecutors. Redirect defendants away from Penfield Town Court so a citizen in Penfield that's going to be a defendant can receive a fair and impartial hearing. But you love this nauseating little room, this star chamber at the district attorney's office, because you love to destroy lives. Because you're obsessed with power. So, tell your employees to stay away from Wegmans, you Benito Mussolini skinhead and stooge. Again, coming to my residence, I'm not going to dwell on that again. So, why the rope? 97,075 and 30 cents. How are you paid 30 cents? Is there a civil service gal? Michael Julian says I swung a hammer at him on my back porch. That's a lie. Purge himself to your grand jury, Michelle Crowley. 73,312, 85 cents. Shannon and Meyer, 83,291, 42 cents again. So, how many of these employees are paid overtime? I believe every single one of them is paid overtime. This is what I believe. You could disabuse me of this, the sheriff's office. I believe every single employee here, the payroll of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, is paid overtime. And some are even doubling their salaries. So Todd Baxter, there's a name I'm going to look for. I believe I can find it right away, as I can. Frank Chernetsky. I believe you know Frank Chernetsky. I believe I have been right next to Frank Chernetsky, because I demanded, using the Freedom of Information Law, length of employment at the Sheriff's Office. When I worked for Senate Majority Leader Ralph Marino and Governor George Pataki from 1991 to 1998 in the Capitol. On the 5th floor was an elderly man, I believe he was past 70, who worked for Governor Nelson Rockefeller, who I'm told was once highly effective and valued. And he didn't have a job. He would come down to where I was in the press office, on the 3rd floor at the time, and he would talk to one of my colleagues. His name was Bill Stevens, because Bill had worked for Governor Nelson Rockefeller. And he would read the newspaper, he'd talk to Bill, he'd walk around the building in the Capitol, and it was really sad to see this. To see a man who just couldn't enjoy his retirement, because he was about 70. And I would see him, I think, for about 18 months, and I didn't see him anymore, and I didn't know what happened to him. I believe Frank Chernetsky is just like this man, because Frank Chernetsky has been a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee for 57 years. And if he was hired at 18, he's 75 years old. And I believe this is the old man at the jail. And the old man at the jail is around murderers and rapists and arsonists and sociopaths, psychopaths. Is Frank Chernetsky the old man at the jail or not? So here he's right here. And right below Frank Chernetsky is Michael Corey at 29 years. And above Frank Chernetsky is Carl Zimmerman at 32 years. I've said his name before in a question I'm about to ask, but I'm going to use a different name. Hopefully I can find a 30-year employee. So I have Mary Frank Staub Carr, 37 years. 37-year employee of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Mary Frank Staub Carr, she overweight. As a veteran, Todd Baxter, you have taken a PT test. As you understand the PT test, because it has changed, it's tougher now. It used to be 40 sit-ups, 40 push-ups, and I think the 2-mile run was about 25 minutes. With any idiot can do that. And you have taken that test as a veteran, as a soldier. As you understand the PT test, Todd Baxter, that you have taken, and I'm sure I would guess that perhaps half of your sheriff office employees are veterans, or 25%. Can Mary Frank Staub Carr, 37-year employee of the sheriff's office, pass PT test? Is Mary Frank Staub Carr a uniformed employee, and is she overweight? The colonel and sergeant major in the military has a scale, and they can look at your weight and your height, and then the Department of Defense will tell the colonel and sergeant major who's overweight based on the scale. I'm going to look for a male employee. I don't want to use another female employee. Thomas Sarkis, 34 years. Is 34-year employee of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Thomas Sarkis, who if he was hired at 18, is 52 years old. Is Thomas Sarkis overweight or not? Can Thomas Sarkis pass the equivalent of an Army PT test? What are the physical training standards for the Sheriff's Office? And I know the answer, you have none. You're placing the lives of your own Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees at risk because you allow them to be overweight and out of shape. And that's an abomination. So, now I'm demanding the names of my prosecutors' silence. And I'm demanding overtime. I'm going to read every single one of these because corruption requires repetition. Here. Again. Overtime, time and a half. I have at least 3 prosecutors. And then I'm going to get to the last one, which I believe can remove you from office, Todd Baxter. These are all dated February 23rd. Documentation for the case of Christopher Charges for John P. Lenz or Gene Pemberton Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? The prosecutor doesn't talk to court. Is undelivered to Monroe County Jail. Is that Julian or not? Documentation for the case of Christopher Charges for Paul C. Lenz or Pemberton Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? The prosecutor doesn't talk to court. The 5'2" 3-piece suit boy is undelivered to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Documentation for the case of Christopher Charges to New York State Supreme Court. For Alex Renzi, what is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Prosecutors who don't talk to court to force me to Alex Renzi, what are their names? These 2 females standing behind me when his service finished and done. Cost of overtime, time and a half, how paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter. Do you, Todd Baxter, receive overtime or not? And the answer is yes. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, how paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monroe County Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Do you receive overtime or not? I believe you do because I looked at the sheet and you had some number there. I think it was $9,000. This is what I believe can remove you from office because it's corruption and contracting. Freedom of Information Law, April 23rd. It's attached to PDF. I'll update this in the next 48 to 72 hours, I hope. I'm going to send you these same foils again. Foil, Freedom of Information Law. The contract signed by Sheriff Todd K. Baxter to purchase firearms from Monroe County Sheriff Office employees to include the name of the firearms contractor, the number of firearms purchased, the total amount of taxpayer dollars expended to purchase firearms. 1, 2, 3. 1, the name of the firearms contractor. How did you pick the contractor for your weapons? You don't just have the handguns. You have long guns or rifles. You have, as I've said repeatedly, an arsenal. Who is it? The number of firearms in the United States of America is frightening and chilling. It really is. And I'm not some gun control fanatic. That's not me. Who's your contractor for the firearms? Because that weapon can be used to kill an innocent citizen, especially if the sheriff's office employee is not trained in how to use it. And also, what are your training standards for how your employees qualify? Do they have to qualify every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? How does that work? So, you picked the contractor for your firearms, Todd Baxter. Is that right? I believe that is right. And who is it? How is the value, or what is the value of the contract for your firearms? The number of firearms purchased. How many do you have? This is not information I'm asking that's going to compromise, or demanding, I should say, compromise your security. The number of firearms. How many do you have? How many handguns, rifles, long guns, anything else? Do you have machine guns at the sheriff's office? Because as you're a veteran, you know that there's the M60. Todd Baxter, have you ever fired the M60? Because this thing can knock you over and knock you back. What do you have at the sheriff's office? Do you have fully automatic weapons or not? Total amount of taxpayer dollars to purchase firearms. What's the total cost of the contract? So, was it about 30 minutes? Tell me what the answer is. I'm going to update this and send it again. I'll repeat myself. For you psychopaths, you do not know. You're psychopaths. You will never know. You psychopaths. Fire that Shannon and my Todd Baxter. Because it is. If somebody would have told me at any point since I moved to Penfield in 2012 that there'd be an arrest warrant for me walking through this parking lot, but not anybody else, and that I would be in Monroe County Jail and not no one else would be because of this parking lot, I would think that that's some type of Aldous Huxley then. This is why people hate the police. You'll never know why people hate the police. April 7th. I'm going to send all these to your office. You've gotten all these too. Either email or registered mail return receipt, UPS, or FedEx. April 7th, Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley. Here's all your emails here. Every single one of these I'm going to hold up here is a copy of what I sent you on Gmail, where I change either to Gmail or Proton Mail. Use Proton Mail and Gmail because it's unlimited recipients. This is in your office, either via Gmail, FedEx, registered mail return receipt, UPS. I'm telling you, psychopaths, disclose the names of my prosecutors, and you're refusing. Mail the names of my prosecutors, signs the address below in Rochester, read the 6 attached PDF documentation, resign. That's April 7th. Insane. It's insane to refuse to disclose the names of prosecutors in public proceeding. Read the attached PDF, mail the names of my prosecutors, signs the address listed below, resign. March 25th, City of Freaks. Rochester, New York City Freaks. I explained that to you. You'll never know that either. Mail the names of my prosecutors, signs the address listed below, resign. March 25th. February 26th. Mail the names of my prosecutors, signed to my court appearance, the address below 620 Park Avenue in Rochester, New York. Read the attached freedom of information law document that was sent to the United States Attorney for Western District Trinity Ross, resign. Up here, for $113,918.94 sent First District Attorney Perry Duckles, identified by prosecutor silence. February 25th. This is after I contacted you on January 1. Mail the names of my prosecutor signed court appearances. The address listed below 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. Apply with attached freedom of information law. Identification. February 24th. On February 22nd, you will receive from Federal Express the attached PDF documentation, and you did. Mail the names of my prosecutors silence. The address is listed below 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. What's the problem, Jonestown? The problem is you're corrupt. February 22nd, you will receive from Federal Express the attached PDF that's freedom of information law. Disclose the names of my prosecutors silence. This is February 22nd. Disclose the names of my prosecutors silence. Resign. Insane. District Attorney Sandra, Todd Baxter, Judge Alex Renzi, 1 judge, the corruption of Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, YouTube 4 Monroe County Public Defender, Mark Phillips, Grisina Harper. February 22nd, I'm telling Mark Phillips and Grisina Harper, my former public defenders, to tell me the names of my prosecutors, and they're refusing, and that's insane. And here they are again. This is Chris Chichester at USA.com. This is Grisina Harper at MonroeCounty.gov, Mark Phillips from MonroeCounty.gov. There's your names right there, Grisina Harper, Mark Phillips. Mail names of my prosecutor silence. The address below 620 Park Avenue in Rochester, New York, February 21, 2023. I'm astounded at the public defender's office, which I once had respect for and admiration, just descended into this oblivion of corruption and indifference and fanaticism When all I have to do is tell me who these psychopaths are. That's all you have to do. Mark Phillips and Regina Harper and Julie Siaga, the public defender, and you never hear from me again. It's because you're in fear of this corrupt Leviathan at the district attorney's office, and that's why you're refusing to disclose the names of prosecutors assigned to my court appearances. One judge. This is really frightening. One judge determining guilt or innocence. And Paul C. Metzer, Alex Renzi, and John P. Menzer Jr. do not have the mental faculties to make these decisions about guilt or innocence. One judge resigned. Just went with a simple word there. Vice. Went with a simple word there too. Sickness. Went with a simple word there. Read it to February 17th. Read the attached PDF documentation. Disclose the names of my prosecutor's son's mail. The names of my prosecutor's son's the address below. Resign. This is the nightmare cop freak for every citizen of Monroe County. Sheriff Todd Baxter, $16,000 pay raise freak, 83-291-42 Shannon and Meyer. Read the attached PDF that's Freedom of Information Law. Comply with the attached PDF that's Freedom of Information Law. Disclose the names of our prosecutor's silence. Resign. So, Michelle Crowley, why don't you call me the grand jury? You contacted here. Misconduct for chief of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley. I only use this email once, so it can't be blocked. This is an email I used, Michelle Crowley, that was copied to you, Perry Duckles, and all you other employees at the district attorney's office. Misconduct on Chief of Grand Jury Bureau, Michelle Crowley, right here. Here's all your emails here. I'm looking at your name, Michelle Crowley. Your email's on there. So, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper. What am I talking about in here, Michelle Crowley? Do you not know? Do you not remember? Do you not even know what I'm talking about? I'm going to tell you about two corrupt cops. Is it a crime in the state of New York to walk onto private property anywhere for the cops and hide and hibernate? Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto, Todd Baxter, $73,000 freak and $85,000 freak, walked onto the private property of an elderly neighbor 2 years ago. Now pay attention, Michelle Crowley, because this is what I was said in the grand jury if you called me. This is what I was said to you if you would call me for an interview. And you don't want to do any of this, Michelle Crowley, because you're a fanatical, corrupt hack, and you want to indict me. When Michael Houlihan perjured himself. And even though I'm going to tell you right now how he perjured himself and how he committed a crime, it's not going to matter to you. I leave my residence 2 years ago. I walk alongside my residence. This is on the body camera footage of both of these psychopaths. Houlihan and Benedetto, from the private property of my neighbor, come running at me. When I turn around and run away, I never stop running. As I get to the back porch, I just grabbed a hammer next to my bike. I place my foot on the first of 3 steps. Michael Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I pull away. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stop running. Since I never stopped running, Director of the Grand Jury, Michelle Crowley, misconduct, I cannot swing a hammer at psychopath cop Michael Houlihan. If I tried to swing a hammer at him, I would have had to stop, pivot on my right foot, turn, and bring it down upon him, hypothetically, and it would have ran right into me. You disgusting, sickening degenerate, Michelle Crowley. I would have told you all this on the phone. I would have told you all this to the grand jury. How did you pick these 18 to 24 anonymous idiots to indict me, to transform me into your ham sandwich? Did you talk to Michael Houlihan and Don Benedetto at the district attorney's office? What's your communication with these two? I have not asked you that yet, and I will. When Michael Houlihan states, I don't know the question, but he states in the grand jury that I swung a hammer at him, that's when Michael Houlihan perjures himself. I was in Livingston County Jail for this. When I was followed and stalked and tracked to Wegmans, when I was going to Gold's Gym at Fairport, Monroe County Sheriff Office employee gets out of his vehicle, runs at me, slams his shoulder into the side of my head. I fell down. My head hit the concrete pavement. Todd Baxter's Jonestown Kool-Aid drinker says to me, "Don't move, Chris, or I'm just violently attacked." That's why I was in Livingston County Jail, because it is psychopath Michael Houlihan. What do you think about what I'm saying to you, Michelle Crowley? Because this is what Alex Renzi said to me about attempted felony assault. Alex Renzi, that's what I'm charged with. Alex Renzi says to me, there's no such crime. Either it's assault or it's not assault. So in the fiction of the fantasy land of Michael Houlihan's head, I attempted to assault him when I'm running away the whole time. And I'm in jail for this. And this is why the prosecutor does the talking card. Because the prosecutor can't make an argument when I'm running away the whole time from 2 psychopath cops that I swung a hammer at them. Is Alex Renzi right? Michelle Crowley, Perry Duckles, and other employees of the district attorney's office that there is no such concoction as attempted felony assault because it's a landmine of vagueness and anything can be attempted. You, Michelle Crowley, could attempt to assault Perry Duckles. And then he's going to think, what the hell does that mean? Because attempted can mean anything. Ridiculous. You psychopaths. Absolutely sickening. What you are. The silence of the district attorney's office is delivering me to jail 6 times, accompanied by the violence of the sheriff's office. That's why on February 9th, this is called Silence and Violence. This is my letter to Robert J. Valente, who's helping me move at the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. This is a man of the highest character, decency, morality, and integrity. I really owe Robert J. Valente and Lori Pepper-Lasiski at the United States Department of Veterans Affairs my life. Because I would have still been sleeping outside or somewhere else that is dangerous without Robert and Lori helping me. Hearts of gold. You wouldn't know anything about hearts of gold. The sheriff's office and the district attorney's office. Because you have hearts of stone. When I say information, here it is right here. An email I only use once. Information at District Attorney Sandra and Todd Baxter. I will go with the language that's non-inflammatory. Information. What are the names of my prosecutors? Comply with the attached freedom of information law documents, mail the names of my prosecutors out to my court appearances to the address listed below in Rochester, New York. Regina Harper and Mark Phillips, this is where I'm really astonished. 2 individuals I used to have respect for and admiration for are just as corrupt as you hacks at the district attorney's office. And this is why. Regina Harper, the Monmouth County Public Defender's Office. What's the name of my prosecutors? Mark Phillips, the Monmouth County Public Defender's Office. What's the name of my prosecutors? February 4th, 2023. YouTube, for Regina Harper, Mark Phillips, Monmouth County Public Defender's Office. YouTube, Psychopath Inc., Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, and Judge Alex Renzi. I emailed this to you. That's the cover letter, where it came back to me. You sent my mail back to me. Regina Harper and Mark Phillips, why? How do you possibly send my mail back to me when this is coming to you? And came to you, how? Answer me. I'm not asking that rhetorically. I have not yet been able to determine the regulatory authority over Public Defender's Office in New York State. I don't know if it's the Department of State in Albany, the Attorney General's office. Julie Siakam, Monmouth County Public Defender, what's the answer to that? I will contact your regulators because you're not telling me the names of my prosecutors. I will be a broken record about this. All you have to do to never hear from me again is just tell me what the names are. What do you pay at the Public Defender's Office? Julie Siakam, Mark Phillips, and Regina Harper. You paid overtime too. Psychopaths Inc., February 2nd. This is Lisa Gray. Again, the corruption, pardon me. It really is astounding. I have to pause sometimes and think about the corruption that has descended on me, this alien mind, the darkness of the hearts of you at the district attorney's office. This is a dark heart right here. This is Lisa Gray, counsel, the district attorney. February 1, L. Gray, MonmouthCounty.gov, E. Buckley, MonmouthCounty.gov, M. O'Brien, MonmouthCounty.gov, M. Schwartz, MonmouthCounty.gov, M. Crowley, MonmouthCounty.gov, M. Monahan, MonmouthCounty.gov. Copy 2, M. Beezer, MonmouthCounty.gov, C. Bolkelman, MonmouthCounty.gov, R. Catalano, MonmouthCounty.gov, J. Hyatt, MonmouthCounty.gov, P. Gallagher, MonmouthCounty.gov, S. Miles, MonmouthCounty.gov, M. Robertson, MonmouthCounty.gov. Every single one of these is employee of the district attorney's office. YouTube for Perry Duckles, perjurer, Michael Hand violence. I don't know if you clicked on there, but on here I'm telling you over and over and over to tell me the names of my prosecutors at your district attorney's office. Special counsel to district attorney Lisa Gray. What are the names of my prosecutors? It's insane for you to refuse. This is January 26th. Fanaticism, perjury, violence, rejection, accountability. Michael C. Hulan and Richard J. Sieben should be fired immediately for attacking me at the public library. That's Richard J. Sieben. Michael Hulan, perjuring yourself. It's a long email. It's what you're doing to me. When I now know that an arrest as an innocent man not only destroys that life, it also has an effect on those closest to the individual. And this is an email to my ex-girlfriend, Laura, who I've known for 35 years, where she took all my things to a storage locker. And Webster, she refused to tell me what happened. I'll write a criminal complaint about her and my 80-year-old landlord, Anthony Spano, and neither one will be arrested. It's a court order to one, lock someone out, and a court order to take all the personal possessions of a tenant to a storage locker, to remove things from the residence. There is no court order. Anthony Ospano, my 80-year-old landlord, just thinks because I don't have a lease, he can do whatever he wants with my life. And what he did is destroy my life. My books are gone, my bikes are gone, my dress greens for the 101st are gone, my bed's gone, my couch is gone. Every single thing I own is gone. Then when he rented 26 Sanders Farm Drive where I live, he went down to the basement and he told the prospective tenants, here's a washer and dryer that he didn't buy, that he doesn't own, because it's my property. That must just the ball for me. Anthony Ospano, this 80-year-old man, is renting 26 Sanders Farm Drive where I'm evicted without a court order with a washer and dryer my sister Barbara Stematagas of Glenwood, Maryland bought. The sickness of you doing this to me, the language I just used is because of these prosecutors of silence at the district attorney's office, and these psychopaths are attacking me with violence at the sheriff's office. January 24th, the perfect words, you're freaks. Every one of you here, this is from the Gmail I created for you. 74s that day. It's used every single time. And that's the same. This again, unethical. I'm running out of words to describe these fanatics at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. January 18th, comply with the attached PDF dated January 18th, 2023 to 71 Freedom of Information Law documents. This includes identification on prosecutor's silence, mailing information on demand, the address on file. What am I going to show here, Todd Baxter? I don't know if that's the color photo. It's not. So I'm going to have to look for the color photo here, Todd. I don't know if I have it. Perhaps I do, because the color photo really shows what a psychopath you are, Todd Baxter. And there it is right there. This is 2025 Penfield Road. That's a camera called surveillance device. Is that not a surveillance device? Todd Baxter, employees of the sheriff's office. Sandra Doorley, employees of the district attorney's office, because it is. Regina Harper emailed me links. Todd Baxter, how many times do I have to say this? This is private technology. At 2025 Penfield Road, you buy it and fix it for me. You're calling Lindsay Bowden, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence because I use that phrase. She chased me down Willapa Way in Penfield because I used the phrase surveillance device that either you bought or you're using upon me. You'll say anything in Jonestown. You really will. To Jansen McNair, I've been on here now repeatedly about him. Patronage hire at the Office of Public Integrity, former employee of the Sheriff's Office, who's a double dipper, just like you, Todd Baxter. Corrupt Todd Baxter, Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi on January 14th. On January 14th, in that YouTube, I'm saying, disclose the names I prosecuted. I didn't write it here in the email. Jansen McNair, Office of Public Integrity. Did you make a phone call to Adam Bello, the county executive, to get Jansen McNair this job at the Office of Public Integrity? What's the answer, Todd Baxter? You know what you're going to do? You refuse to answer. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write just about Jansen McNair to you. There's going to come a period of time where I'm going to contact you, I hope, for 2 straight weeks. And on one day, I'm going to be consumed about him. Because this is a patronage hire. This is a hack. This is a double dipper just like you, Todd Baxter, fleecing taxpayers, Jansen McNair. And what the hell does Monroe County need an Office of Public Integrity for? This is right up there with the Office of Dog Catchers, the Office of Public Integrity. January 11th, rejection, accountability here. I'm telling you, disclose names of my prosecutors. The same thing on January 10th. I'm telling you to disclose names of my prosecutors, refusing every single time. January 5th, here's all your emails. This is a Proton Mail account I created. I only use Proton Mail once. Perhaps I'll use that today. I don't know yet. Charges to Chris040@proton.me. Here's all your emails up here. January 5th. Comply with the attached PDF that is January 5th, 2023. The 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your offices via United Postal Service tomorrow. Mail the information and demand the address Rochester. And this excludes the names of our prosecutors' silence. So here's Mark Phillips right here. Mark, I don't know if you just blew this off, but if you saw this email, why don't you just contact me and tell me what the answer is? Regina Harper's email's on here too. Why? Tell me what the answer is. When you look at this, if in fact you did, and I believe you did because you're sending my mail back to me, why don't you just reach the intellectual conclusion that this is the defendant who's in courtrooms, who's demanding names of prosecutors, and I know those names, and I'll send it to him. Insane. You're insane, Mark Phillips. You're insane, Regina Harper. You're insane, public defender Doorley. You're not going to refuse to tell me these names. The appellate division of state Supreme Court is where an attorney is disbarred, which is what I'm going to pursue for these psychopaths, prosecuting me in total silence. I guarantee if Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter, was being prosecuted in total silence, your wife, Mary Baxter, would be in a rage about that, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. I guarantee District Attorney Sandra Doorley, if your daughter, Erin Doorley, was prosecuted in total silence and in jail 6 times without a prosecutor talking court, you would be in a rage about that, and so would your husband, Bill Loftus. January 3rd, comply with attached PDF dated January 3rd, 2023. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This is attached PDF for robbing your office, UPS, and it's it. So this is the last one. January 1, Perry Duckles. On this January 1, Christopher Chichester 1 at USA.com. Copy 2. Paula Metzler, Penfield or Gmail. Perry Duckles there, P. Duckles, MonroeCounty.gov. Todd Thurston and Mark Phillips. So you, Mark Phillips, when I'm telling Perry Duckles here in January 1, here, tells pathetic accumulation of health afflictions to send the information by UPS address list below includes the names of my prosecutor's silence. Mark Phillips, you copied on here. I didn't copy Regina Harper because it was limited recipients. You know, on January 1 of this year, the first day of the year, 3+ months ago, that I'm demanding disclosure of names in a public proceeding you refused, along with Perry Duckles. That's corruption and fanaticism every single time. So, who is it? Who are the freaks? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester with Paul C. Metzler in Penfield Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Lamento Jr. in Penfield Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court. Alice Renzi was the name of the prosecutor. Sandra Doorley. I repeat that because corruption requires a repetition. I really am astonished, blown away, an absolute and total complete contempt at you psychopaths prosecuting me in silence and then refusing to disclose the names of these disgusting, sickening human beings that are doing it to me. And it's because of these disgusting, sickening human beings that I don't have my original DD-214 from 17 Cavalry 101st Airborne Division. It's because of these disgusting, sickening human beings. You come into my residence, the man, my dog. It's because of these disgusting, sickening human beings that I don't have any clothes. That's an XL from the Goodwill. I went there yesterday. All my clothes are gone because of eviction by Antonino Spano without a court order, using my ex-girlfriend to do it. So that's 2 right there. I don't have any clothes. I'm buying clothes at the Goodwill because of you, Sheriff Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. I don't have any clothes. I'm buying clothes at the Goodwill because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence. District Attorney Sandra Doorley and employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, and you will refuse because you're corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I'm an innocent man.